Everyone, we sure miss you, but I'm really grateful that we're able to be together for this virtual Relief Society night. Erica Snow has asked me to teach you how to make a very simple bread recipe. It's called English muffin bread, and it's kind of like a huge loaf that's an English muffin. You can slice it, and there's all sorts of little nooks and crannies, just like an English muffin. But the best part about this bread is you don't have to knead it, and you just have to let it rise once, and it's, for the most part, usually ingredients you have on hand: flour, salt, sugar, and yeast. So, to get started, you'll need 5½ cups of flour. You can use all-purpose flour, you could use bread flour. I've not tried whole wheat flour, but if anyone does and it works out, let me know. And you begin with adding 1½ teaspoons of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and then it calls for 2 packets of instant yeast. You should be able to use regular yeast as well, but you'll want to Google like what you need to do first. Probably add water to it and let it proof, but if you have instant yeast, you just add the 2 packets. So I usually stir this part up first. The recipe says just throw it all in at once, but I like to stir this part. And then it's 2 3/4 cups warm water. And the recipe says to hardly mix it at all. So sometimes I leave dry streaks, sometimes I don't. What makes the biggest difference for this bread is if you let it cool completely before you cut into it, it's taller and looks more like English muffin. But if you're really impatient and you cut into it right away, it tastes really yummy because it's all warm, but that smashes the bread down and it gets kind of dense. But it could possibly be that I just sometimes stir this too much and other times I don't. But I'm pretty sure that most of the time I cut into it when it's warm. But this will make 2 loaves of bread, so you'll just want 2 bread pans, very well greased, and you put this kind of shaggy mixture directly in. Probably gonna have to take some out of that. And so once this is flattened and as smooth as you want to get it on the top, I have noticed that for this bread, as it rises, it doesn't, get all beautiful and smooth. Like if you make rolls, it kind of gets prettier as it rises. This one doesn't do that. So if you want it to be rather rectangular looking, try to make it as even as possible, but it tastes the same. You don't have to. I usually don't. After that, you cover the bread with a towel or a plastic wrap and let it rise for an hour or so. The recipe says to let it rise until it reaches the top of the pan. I don't know what it is, but mine never really doubles quite that much. So after about an hour and 20 minutes, I just go ahead and bake it, and it still turns out really good. So you will bake it at 350 for 45 minutes. You can brush it with butter about 10 minutes before it's done baking, or you can just wait till it comes out of the oven. But if you brush the tops with butter, then it gets nice and browned. I've stopped cooking it at 35 minutes before, and it's turned out fine. I think the final 45 minutes is more about just getting it more browned and beautiful on top. But regardless, a really easy bread. It's wonderful toasted, with an egg on it or anything like that. I wouldn't use it to make sandwiches, but some people do. But hopefully you guys have a lot of fun making this. If you have any questions, call me or text me. All my information is on tools, and have a great time. Alright, it's been 45 minutes and this is what the bread looks like now. It's almost to the top and it's still kind of shaggy on the top, and the ovens are preheated. So one of them is going to go in my regular oven for 45 minutes and the other I'm going to try out in this convection oven that my brother gave me. It's supposed to cook up a little faster, so I'll send you pictures when it's done. The bread is baked. We let them rise for an hour and preheated the ovens, stuck them in for the 45 minutes. This one, at the 35-minute mark, we pulled it out and brushed it with butter and then gave it another 10 minutes in the oven. And so that's what it looks like. And per usual, we cut into the bread right away so you can kind of see it has been smashed a little bit by the knife. It's a little dense, but you get a sense of that ragged nooks and cranny English muffin type thing. So that's English muffin bread.